a year. What's happened?
I know.
Moved houses, got children going to school and all that sort of stuff. Man, this is fucking nuts. And through it all, we've kept this podcast fairly consistent.
A lot of petrol burned.
Man, I've drove so many miles. I don't know if I can calculate that. I probably could.
You're like a proclaimer. You're the third proclaimer, Specky.
I know I've got specs and I'm Scottish. That's pretty much all I need to be a proclaimer.
That's the criteria. You don't even need to be able to sing these cunts, can you?
Egypt features forever.
We have had some questions sent in for the 1 year anniversary.
Shit, really?
Is it okay if I get those over with first?
Yeah, people listening to this. That's amazing.
Okay, to mark the occasion, we've been sent in some questions from our listeners.
Thank you.
This says... This seems to be for both of us.
What was your favourite episode from the last year?
Oh man, off the top of my head, I think American Pie was really good.
American Pie was solid. I think my favourite and the one I always recommend is The Wizard of Oz.
That was funny.
The numbers weren't great on it, but I like doing a really old movie.
Yeah, an old classic quotable movie that everybody's seen, and it was fun to record, man. I remember like having a blast doing that. I think the most fun we've probably had recording... Do you know what? Flashdance was fun.
Flashdance was amazing.
Flashdance was like a real turning point for me, because like I went into that being like, oh man, I need to watch Flashdance, and by the end of it I was like, I want to watch it again.
I was up my seat pointing at everybody.
You were. That was in your old house, man. It's kind of crazy. We've been doing this for a year. We started this in your old crib.
Yeah.
In your wee living room, and now here we are in your new crib in your living room.
And we've managed to keep it going. It's nuts. Yeah, Wizard of Oz for me, American Pie for Ryan, both, yeah, the best I think we've done. This is oddly just for you.
Oh.
What's little Ryan's favourite colour?
Man, I like a nice purple.
You like a purple?
Yeah, like a sort of dark purple.
Oh.
I'm trying to think of like clothing, like I like a nice purple shirt or something.
Artist formerly known as Prince Purple Rain! Do you remember Nicolas Cage freaking out singing that, Divorced?
No, but that sounds like the most Nicolas Cage thing ever.
What's something you're looking forward to in the next year?
Is that podcast related or just in life?
It's podcast related, and I think we could give something away.
Okay, why don't you give it away?
Episode 50.
Episode 50. I mean, it's going to either
sink or swim.
Hey!
This is oddly for Ryan again.
Man, I've got fans.
Does little Ryan wear boxers or pants?
Boxers exclusively. I'm not a pants fan.
Right.
And just to give you more detail, I like a baggy boxer. Like no one of those ones that like cut into and chafe.
Okay.
I like a bit of space between my thigh and my
Did you ask this question and send this question
I sent it in under my burner account.
Okay.
No. Who asked that? Do you have...
I do not know. I just asked on Instagram.
Hey guys, big fan. Love the time-traveling Billy Connolly stuff. You're both hot. Is there anything you would hope to achieve before your next anniversary?
100 episodes? We need to mark it at some point.
Yeah.
But we're not... We're just collecting episodes, man.
Yeah, we're building up a good wee discography.
Bank episodes. Do a lot more recording. I would like to eventually do a little side project within Egypt Features. There's a TV show I'd possibly like to start recapping. And one last question for Ryan.
My God.
Does Ryan spit or swallow? Sure wouldn't mind that boy gargling my banana milkshake if you get my drift. Sweet little Scottish pie.
It depends. It depends what you're after. Oh, it's happened. It's been a good year, Kieran.
It's been amazing, sir. Happy year.
And by the way, man, what a way to bring in the year with one of your favourite movies of all time. Dumb and Dumber 1994.
One of my all-time favourite movies. I am so excited.
Interesting.
After a woman leaves a briefcase at the airport terminal, a dumb limo driver and his dumber friend set out on a hilarious cross-country road trip to Aspen to return it.
A cultural phenomenon.
The Farrelly brothers.
They were on top of the world at one point.
Wow. Kingpin. There's something about Mary, Me, Myself and Irene.
Blockbuster comedies, man. They were just knocking them out of the park.
For the most part, pretty great as well. Kingpin's hilarious.
Yep, amazing. They're all great films. By the way, talking about Blockbuster, man, let's just rewind a wee bit and talk about Jim Carrey in 1994.
This is the year.
Give me the list.
Pet Detective, The Mask, Dumb and Dumber. We were huge fans of In Living Colour. And there was this one sketch, Ryan, and my mum taped it, and we watched it so many times, where Jim Carrey is brought in to interview Damon Wayans, portraying a homeless man who lives in this cardboard house, but everything's made out of cardboard in it. He shines in this programme. And that 1994, I remember the TV spots. The TV spot, Pet Detective, was him catching the bullet, me screaming to my mum, I need to go see this. He's like a pet detective. This is the most important film in the entire world. And he was almost the resurrection of like your Buster Keatons, your silent era actors who poured himself into absolutely everything he does, and he earned the money. He earned that status.
It's pretty late to talk about the logos every week, but the New Line logo means so much to me.
It's the House of Freddy, baby. The New Line logo rules. It's one of my favourites. That
So
blue.
good.
What do you think of that blue?
Is it ladders? Is that what it is? It's for?
It's
I know
a
it's supposed to be
film
film,
cell.
but it looks like ladders. I always thought when I was a kid it was like little ladders.
We open on Hope Street. A limo drives past.
Can I say, I am laughing immediately at the way this limo even drives. This lady's standing at a bus stop. A car drives past, limousine. It stops suddenly and reverses a wee bit. The back window goes down and out pops just the head of Jim Carrey. And already we're laughing. He's got the haircut. He's got a bowl cut. He's got the bowl cut. He's got the gap in his tooth, little chipped tooth.
Do you remember my mod cut?
I do remember that cut, yeah. But yours wasn't like a bowl cut. Yours was more like a, oh man, I love Paul Weller kind of thing.
I did.
I bet you did.
But I've got a wee gap in my teeth as well, so my dad called me Lloyd Christmas. I fell in primary and that thing came on, man. A man with an odd haircut appears from the back of the limousine.
It's because he doesn't put the window down all the way, so he has to turn his head slightly to the side. To the side to get it out. But that's the difference between a good comedian and a great one. Just the wee micro things that he does is just so funny. He gets it.
But he doesn't need... He just naturally understands how to do that.
And later when he tries to pull his head back in the way, he has to reverse it.
The backseat passenger rolls down his window saying his driver is a little lost. They're trying to find the medical school where he is due to give a lecture in 20 minutes. She tells him where to go and he compliments her accent. New Jersey, she says. Austria.
Again, this movie's so endlessly quotable. Everybody knows this quote. He starts doing an Australian accent. It's one of the oldest. She says, "Let's not," as she's clearly disgusted by him.
When he tries, you said it, but when he tries to put his head back in the window after the
It gets
KB,
jammed a wee second.
he tries to look at the people to see if they're looking and they caught him, and he gets his nose caught.
It's not even finished yet. He goes into the car, crawls up into the driver's seat, and we get boom shakalaka. And that's opening credits.
Lloyd hits the road as the titles erratically hit the screen, and the titles are just as crazy as the movie.
Yeah.
The titles hit each other and we hear, ooh, ah, whoosh.
Titles aren't like this anymore, where they've got so much character.
Were you not just totally in?
Yeah.
So colourful, so much fun, and you knew what this
complements
film,
the movie.
you knew what the film was.
Yeah, 100%.
Lloyd drives past a fast food joint where a man dressed as a big old puppy dog exits the place with a big bag of food and gets into a big van. What's so special about this van?
This van is so iconic as well, though. Oh, you're talking about the van? Okay, yeah, so he says at one point he spent all his savings transforming his van into a big a big dog. It's called Mutt's Cuts. It's a big sheepdog van. Everybody knows Dumb and Dumber van. I don't need to explain it to you.
This film has two greatest cinemas vehicles.
You talk about the bike as well.
I love the bike.
Okay, yeah.
It's a shaggin' wagon. Dogs in the back. Harry feeds them lunch through the back as he drives erratically to their event.
He's bought them all individual. Is it deli meat?
He reads out the orders as if they ordered them. The wee chihuahua was like, "Here, get us a schnitzel."
Aye, because he says, "Who wants the foot long?" And then the wee chihuahua comes up. He's like, "Hey, you get out of here." He's good with his dogs. That's the thing. This movie, and we'll get to it, I'm sure. He's got heart. They've got heart. He's good to these dogs.
He's no good to that wee Pomeranian. He's like, "Go away, wee man. I'm having this. That's too much meat for a wee dog." We noticed that the condiments, there's just ketchup and mustard in the back. They can't use them, they're ducks. He gets a call over his radio. "Get a move on." Harry says, "Yes, sir, 10-4.
Lloyd pulls up to this, is it a big house or a big hotel or something? And he goes, "Suck me sideways." Which sounds like a pure Stifler line for American Pie.
It's a combination of "suck me beautiful" and "my penis is all round." I think you're thinking that in it.
That's right.
All round. He's basically Dane Jim Carrey in that. He is a bit.
True, yeah, it's a bit
Aye.
Jim Carrey. I guess
All
everybody
round.
was, though.
Everybody copied him.
Yeah.
Lloyd pulls up to Mary's huge mansion. He knocks on the door 1,000 times.
No, he doesn't even knock on the door. He rattles this door. It's really funny.
Lloyd greets his passenger, Mary, and Mary is absolutely beautiful, played by Lauren Holly, who he would later marry for a year.
Oh, in real life?
Yeah,
Didn't
yeah.
know that. Good bit of trivia.
Mary is very polite and says she'll be out in a minute, closing the door.
He gets this mouth spray and he misses his mouth completely.
But he grabs his heart first and he goes, and he looks at the doors as if, "How dare you?"
Yeah, he falls in love immediately.
We get the ride to the airport. "Flying somewhere?" She says, "Yeah, how'd you know?" "I saw the luggage, the airplane ticket, and I put two and two together."
I asked her where she's going. She says Aspen. He goes, "California."
Beautiful.
He tells her that he's saving up money to open up a pet store.
"I got worms."
She's like, "Excuse me?" They're going to name their pet store "I Got Worms."
She seems a bit nervous in the back. He asks if she's a nervous flyer. He says, "Don't worry, statistically you're more likely to die on the way to the airport."
He's not looking at the road at all, and there's all sorts of shit going out his window. There's an explosion in the background and stuff. It's really good.
She says, "Could you keep your eyes on the road?" And he says, "Good thinking. A lot of bad drivers out there." Harry's blasting tunes on his headphones, tearing through the cities with these dogs in the back and they're sliding everywhere. He nearly hits a jogger. Then he Starsky and Hutch's this dog van over a hill.
This is funny, man. Like, the fact that
A big
I've
dog
lost-
van's driving.
I didn't know how to word that there, but it's like a big flying dog car. Do you see it? And the ears are going up and down.
He's driving it like a cop car in the 70s, but in Rhode Island.
Which is funny, but also, I know it's a film, but I'm like, oh, there's dogs in the back of that.
I know, but he does love them. You don't need he doesn't mean it malicious, he's just a moron.
He does love them. I mean, he's spent all this money changing his van. That's clearly it's a passion. It's clearly a passion project, man.
I want that film so bad.
Just him saving up all his money so he can change his van into a dog van.
We'll see when he does say, "I spent my life savings on that van." That is the funniest thing. And somebody done him. Done him.
Of course, aye.
Harry makes it to Providence's Pedigree Pooch's annual dog show and he runs down the rules. No humping, no pushing and no sniffing heinies. Lynn Shea's the exception to nepotism, man. Lynn Shea's brother runs New Line. It's Robert Shea.
Is that who is the old woman that greets him here?
Older woman, you've seen her in every single one of their films. Plays Cameron Diaz's roommate wonderfully in There's Something About Mary, Magda.
Oh, yeah.
Shows her boobie. She is the woman, she's Woody Harrelson's landlord in Kingpin that makes him have sex with her.
That's right.
Lynn Shea is
Yeah.
totally incredible, and
This is a very, very small part, though, for her.
she doesn't get to really do what she does here, but she later got a career with Insidious, and she's been so great in those movies.
Oh, yeah, she has.
She is Harry's client. She's raging the dogs were supposed to be here a half hour ago. She doesn't have time to print them now. And he says, don't worry about it. I do all of that. I take pride in my work. And he opens the door.
These poor dogs are just covered in mustard and tomato sauce, and they just look like they've been through a war. And Harry just goes and saying thought he might want to run a comb through them.
Lloyd drops Mary off. She treats this like it's a totally normal everyday goodbye, because it is. He treats it with real emotion.
He refuses a tip. She goes to give him a tip and he says, I can't do that. And he says, after all we've been through.
He asks for a hug and gives her the longest hug in the world.
It verges on creepy. It's a bit... It's funny, but it's also a couple of seconds too long where you're like, come on, mate. See, when he says be strong, he pushes his finger against her lips and he pushes her head towards the door. Goes shh, and oh man, it's so good.
She is freaked out appropriately throughout this entire fight.
Out enough. I would be like,
she's confused.
Yeah, she's confused and more like, this guy's a weirdo. Whereas I would be like, I need to get out of here. I would get in a fight with this guy probably. We
cut to two thugs, Karen Duffy and Mike Starr, as Joe and Shay, who are subtly stalking Mary and talking about the briefcase she has.
She has to walk through this airport with this suitcase, drop it by the escalators and then keep on walking, and then they'll pick up to do the money exchange. Oh my god, this movie was made before 9/11. You can't just leave bags in the middle of the terminal like that anymore, man. You know that security would be tackling you in a heartbeat.
Especially in the States.
Oh my god, somebody would get shot. Mary was shot immediately.
They are brutal in the airports, man. Lloyd's watching Mary as he's driving, extends his arm and says, goodbye, my love, and crashes.
A big physical crash here. The airbag goes off and he's trying to fight with it. She looks at him and he kind of waves at her.
He waves and she awkwardly her reaction is
She's
great here.
This.
She is great in this. Yeah. She's left the suitcase. Lloyd notices. He starts to move. The thugs are just ready to pick up the case, and I think in an excellent piece of direction here.
You see Lloyd coming through the background.
Bursts through the background.
Yep.
Jim Carrey slides on his back.
Yep.
Collects the case.
And jumps back up to his
gets himself back up and keeps moving in one...
Yep, one fluid motion.
He runs to an escalator, nearly running into a nurse whom he warns, move it or lose it, sister.
He runs through this gate. The guy's like, sir, you can't go through there. And he's, what is it he says to him?
No, he runs to the departure board and he doesn't know what one it is and he can't read, we find out. Yeah. So he plays eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Reaches the gate. The rep says, sir, you can't go in there. And he says, it's okay, I'm a limo driver.
He runs up the gate and does this ridiculous fall, and the camera just stays static on the window. We see him fall out the other side.
That shot just moves with that rep. Did you see that shot?
It's a beautiful shot. It doesn't follow him up the tunnel, it just sort of slightly moves to the window and you just see it.
Can I tell you the funniest thing about that scene, Rido? A jetway is the longest bit of run you've got. He just ran towards this guy. He knew there wasn't a plane, but he was still hopeful. They meet up at the apartment and they've both been sacked.
And Lloyd goes, I fell out the jetway again.
He's done it before.
He says it so nonchalantly that you barely even hear it because they're walking away from the camera towards their apartment and the conversation's getting quieter.
Did you notice?
And he goes, I fell out the jetway again.
Did you notice they don't notice each other when they first pull up? He goes, oh, hey Harry, hey Lloyd.
It's completely independent. It's just at the same time, it's so good.
He pulls up in a taxi because he's been sacked for the limo job. We notice the thugs pull up outside the apartment. They plan on finding out who these guys are. Joe pops a tablet, we notice. She asks, the ulcer? He grumbles, I'll live. Telegraphing something that's coming later. The apartment. Let's talk about this apartment. This place is amazing. You've got a manky couch, a manky chair, A Bo Derek poster from the movie 10 where she's running on the beach. A prototype worm farm. And a fridge full of beer. And of course, Petey.
Petey the parakeet. We'll get to Petey, don't you? I think you'll lose it when we get to Petey. And now, before we get there, a parakeet and a parrot is the same thing, yes?
I don't know, man.
Because in my notes, I've just referred to this thing as a parrot. Is budgie a Scottish word?
I don't think it's a... Is it
budgie?
A budgie can't be
word.
A species.
Budgie sounds Scottish. That sounds like one of our words.
Wee budgie.
Aye. I'm going to call it a budgie.
I could call you budgie. Or budgie.
My dad's got a pal called Smudge.
Oh,
He's only got one thumb.
Is that related?
That's not why he's called Smudge. That's just an independent fact.
Feels offensive. Wee Smudge.
I know it does, but
how do you get a name like Smudge?
Called Smudge.
How do you get a name like Smudge? That sounds like a musical.
He's a man called Smudge.
I am Smudge. I am Smudge.
It's like an indie film, isn't it? Smudge.
It's like Spartacus. I am Smudge. No, I am Smudge. Do you think it's because he needs to smudge more stuff with his thumb?
He's got another one. I don't know. I need to go home and ask my dad. Maybe your pal Smudge.
Maybe he doesn't know why he talk about it.
He died years ago.
Your dad starts grieving.
He's a Smudge.
I'm a Smudge. They seem to freak out when you leave the scene of an accident for some reason. Harry says he lost his job as well.
Lloyd laughs at me and calls him one pathetic loser.
No offence. He says none untaken. Harry's gutted he's sacked because he spent his life savings turning this fan into a dog. The alarm alone cost 200. It must woof.
He puts this briefcase on the table and he asks him what it is, and he says it's a love memento.
He says it's from the most beautiful woman alive. She actually talked to me.
No,
she did. Full on tractor beams. Harry asks what's in it. He says, man, I would need to be some pathetic lowlife to go snooping about somebody else's business.
Is it locked?
Really tight.
Alright, these two together talking. There's a couple of scenes like this in the movie, man. It just works.
See, in the apartment, it plays out like theatre. I could watch more of these two just having conversations day to day.
Yeah, let's see if these guys done like a series of like shorts or deleted scenes or something that was just them in the apartment talking, like they did with Beavis and Butthead sitting on the couch watching music videos.
It's so Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
We get a rap at the door.
It's the goons.
It's the goons.
One of them's packing heat.
They check the people. They notice that Joe is preparing his gun. Harry,
did you pay the gas bill?
Do you realise what you've done? Man,
they freak out and head out the window.
That is its own language. The Kerryisms, man. Mm-hmm. Harry suggests they bail. Lloyd agrees. They grab the case and climb out the window and bail into this manky alleyway.
It's also like, what part of town do they live in? Because like even the building looks like a crack den. Doesn't it? It looks like the most manky place you've ever set foot in, man. Joe and Shay raid the apartment. Joe suggests trashing the place and sending a message. Shay looks around the apartment and says, I don't think they'll get that message. Man, this scene is fucked. It's horrible. What happens next? Horrible. It leads to one of the funniest moments in the movie later, but he flat out just murders their budgie. Joe says he's going to send another message and he snaps Petey's neck. It's horrible the way it's framed. It's really dark. You see it, he opens the cage, you see him open the cage, you see him putting his hand in the cage, it does a close-up on his face and we hear the noise, man. We now have a cut that's somewhere between the theatrical and the unrated. Oh, I watched this on Sky Movies. That's some of the new stuff that... What happened originally was we got the reverse of Petey and it was like the Tweety Pie shot. Yeah. He grasped the bird and he said, pretty bird, yeah. And we cut that. We didn't ever need to hear that snap. Yeah, is that been added?
It's
Somebody's
been added.
Why
It's
would
been
you
left
add
in,
that?
and
It makes it so much worse.
because can I tell you what my thoughts are? Audiences are stupid on now. That we know that is true.
If you need them doing that much. By the way, just for clarity, I watched this on Sky Movies. I assume it was the theatrical cut because I didn't see unrated or whatever. You watched unrated cut?
I think I have a hybrid cut of this now.
Yeah, but you have seen the unrated
I've
cut?
seen the unrated. Later that night, the guys arrived back home. They saw somebody in the peephole with a gun, and they come back.
It's brilliant. Of course, the window, they're complete idiots, as
They've
we all
been-
know.
They've been job searching and can't find anything unless they want to work 40 hours a week.
And they laugh as if that's the stupidest thing ever.
Lloyd says he's going to the shop for the essentials. Harry says, be careful with the last of the dough.
This cut to him wearing this fucking cowboy hat, I know it's coming every single time, and every single time I am on the floor.
10-gallon hat. He has 2 crates of beer, which he's barely able to balance because he has whirligigs and he canny hod. Everything's ready to spill because he's playing paddleball. And this is like at midnight. I don't know how they come up with that, but he's a one-man circus.
It feels here like they just had a big room full of props and they're like, just throw stuff in a bag and have fun with it, and he's just picked up that stuff. Or maybe I'm not giving the Farley brothers enough credit. Maybe this was meticulously directed, but either way, it is genius.
His hands are full and the screen is already occupied with all this chaos. He walks past a coin-operated newspaper vending machine and he notices a copy of the Rhode Island Slut.
Nah.
And he wants a copy of this. His hands are full. He could put everything down, but he chooses not to.
The way... It's hard to explain. You need to watch it, but the way he...
We've kind of done this. I've had my hands full with the messages, but
And you've tried to get your keys out your pocket to open your door.
open the door of the car and you don't want to do it, so you go all in and you drop something. He's got his wallet.
And he somehow manages to open it, get the magazine out, or the newspaper out, but then drop his wallet inside it and lock it in.
He shouts, "Cripes!"
Just at this wee old woman rolls by in a motor scooter. This wee woman is brilliant. She doesn't really say much, but her expressions are brilliant.
He asks, "Do you have change for $1?" She says, "Sorry, no." He asks, "Can you watch my stuff whilst I go break a note?" She says, "Yeah." He says, "You know, it's true what they say. Senior citizens, they may be dangerous and slow behind the wheel, but they can still serve a purpose." Lloyd looks at her as if he's paid her the best compliment in the
He
world.
gives her this big warm smile and she gives him the biggest snidey. Well, she looks at him expressionless, and then when he walks away she just goes "Pfft."
And he walks away and he says, "Don't you go dying on me."
He says that off camera. It's so funny.
And he walks away with like a sort of pep in his step. Everything's gonna be alright for Lloyd. Cut to Lloyd arriving home, falling on the floor. Harry asks where the booze is, and Lloyd says they were just robbed by a sweet old lady in a motorised cart. I didn't even see it coming. Harry moans, "What happened to the bird is atrocious." However, the dialogue is so electric. Lloyd tries to console him. He says, "It's no that, it's my parakeet Petey. He's dead. His head's fell off." Lloyd says, his head fell off? Harry says, "Yeah, he was pretty old." Lloyd announces, "I've had it! I've had it with this dump. We've got no food, no jobs. Our pets' heads are falling off."
They need to go someplace warm, like Aspen.
Somewhere where the beer flows like wine, where the beautiful women indistinctively flock like the salmon of Capistrano. He's talking about a little place called Aspen.
And then Harry goes, "I don't know, man, the French are assholes."
Righto. They literally don't know where they're going.
No, they've not got a fucking clue.
Through 3/4 of this film.
They just know, they've seen the word Aspen on a map and they just need to get there. They've not got a clue. They think it's warm, they think it's in California somewhere.
He knows Lloyd wants to go there for Mary and he just needs a driver.
Aye.
Lloyd's,
A kind of nice, would you call this a nice scene or would you call it over dramatic?
it's melodramatic.
It's
That's the
melodramatic
word.
on purpose.
It's on purpose.
But it is kind of nice.
Lloyd says, yeah, they'll know somewhere that can tap them into the social situation. It's a better situation. It's a good idea for a dumb guy.
Yeah.
There is something behind it. It gets melodramatic here as Lloyd looks out the manky window into the manky alleyway. It gets soap opera-ish. He says he's sick and tired of hiking his way through life. He's sick and tired of being a nobody. He's mostly sick and tired of having nobody. And you get a different side of two brilliant actors here. And they turn it on. Harry says, okay, Aspen it is. He puts his arms out. Lloyd says, you're not fooling, are you? And the music swells dramatically.
And then a big hug, and then the hug turns into a hug with a big cry, and he's screaming and he's crying into his jacket, and it's so melodramatic.
Harry eventually's like, that's it. Cut to much cuts on the road.
Man, we're on the road. We're now in a road trip.
Yeah, we're
Here's
on the
my
road.
thing. Can we stop here? This is the first act's over with. We're into the second act now. Would you agree?
Yeah.
This is act 2, I would say.
This is the plot.
I love all this stuff that's going to come up. All the road trip stuff works for me.
I generally love being on the road in film.
That's what I was about to say.
It's the best.
To me, this movie would have worked better for me if this was more of a road trip movie. This movie kind of falls apart for me when they get to Aspen.
I would still
There's funny
say
parts.
it's mostly a road movie.
No, it is, but I would rather it just be a road movie and like the finale is literally they pull up in Aspen and then they go to the hotel and then the ending happens. I want much more of them on the road. That's where this movie works for me. The start of it, obviously, we're setting up the plot. I understand that. And I get that they need to get to Aspen because we need a location, but I think we're in Aspen a bit too long.
Okay.
And for me, the road trip stuff is just great.
Road movies are the best. It's going to be unexpected and it's surprising and it's a journey. It sounds wank, but it's a journey and
it works great for like a horror movie.
horrors are the best. Joyride, Hitcher,
Yeah, even like Death Proof.
Death Proof is
That's not
wonderful.
horror technical being. I mean, like, there's so many good. You could do Jewel, kinda.
Yep.
It's not really a road trip.
It's still the road. It's totally a road movie. There is a fantastic film with noted Sound of Freedom nut job, but good actor Jim Caviezel. Highwaymen.
Seen that. That film's good.
Highwaymen fucking rules. Highwaymen is an Egypt feature.
We should do that. We're going to do that one day.
It cuts to the pair in the shagging wagon blasting proclaimers. Lloyd is just laughing to himself at this point. Lloyd acts like he's running and he tells Harry to look at him because it's like he's running the speed of the van.
What a child, man. That's a pure Wayne thing to do. I will say this, right? I love these guys and I like the relationship they've got and all the rest of it. If I was on the road with Lloyd, I would have kicked him.
That's the point.
Yeah, of
That's-
course it's a good point.
He's annoying him and they haven't even... He says it. We haven't left Connecticut and you're already annoying. We hear crunching and Lloyd's eating some potato chips. Harry asks, where did you get them? Because we've got a tight travel fund. Lloyd says, I was able to make a few extra bucks before we left. And Harry asks, how? I sold some stuff to Billy in 4C. Harry asks, the blind kid? And Lloyd bursts out laughing. And he says, yeah. And then he drops laughing and he gets serious and he says, yeah. And he asks, what did you sell him? Just some stuff.
Got a baseball cards.
A sack of marbles. Petey. Harry is shocked. Petey? Petey didn't have a heat. Harry, I took care of it.
The cut here is the funniest cut I think in the history of cinema. You can't. It cuts to this parakeet with its head sellotaped.
There is a whole ream of sellotape holding this parakeet's head on.
Then meet Joe Osmond. Wee boy, Haley Joel Osment's
wee Haley Joel Osment stunt double, Billy in 4C, in a wheelchair, in this manky wee apartment complex.
so funny.
Claps this bird.
So funny.
He says, pretty bird, pretty bird.
Truly one of the best moments I've ever seen in a film. It's the way you're right then, it's sellotape so crudely. The
Lloyd grabbed that ball.
The fact that Lloyd had to sit with a dead parrot and hold its seat in place while he just rolled a big bit of sellotape through it.
And it's a small
And then
apartment.
he's walked up to a blind kid and been like, "Do you want?"
Why this is a masterpiece to me, it flows like the salmon of Capistrano. The thugs walk into the shot, Ryan.
Yeah, that's right.
The film is
It's not
full
just-
of this.
It's not just a little Family Guy like jump cut to a
No.
joke. The joke then goes to the thugs who are walking into their apartment.
The film briefs.
Yeah, totally. The pace of this film, again, up until about Aspen, I would say for me, the pace is electric.
What separates this film from its prequel, its sequel, and every other film that's kind of tried to do the moron as the protagonist, the Homer Simpson as the protagonist, it really works. This is a believable world.
Yeah, it's not too over the top.
No, it manages to blend cartoon, pure and utter, total nonsense cartoon with the real world.
Yeah.
Every other character is pretty much grounded. It's just they exist in this world.
Yeah.
And this is the animation, if you remember. They went around with the beaver. Did you ever see the...
Dumb and Dumber had an animation.
Yeah, cartoon.
It had a beaver in it.
They had a beaver sidekick.
From Angry Beavers.
No.
Was it Jim Carrey and...
No, it wasn't them, but it was modelled on them. It wasn't great, but it was okay.
I remember, man, see the amount of stuff that had cartoons that you wouldn't know about. Like,
Do you remember
Ghostbusters and all that had a cartoon?
Do you remember Ace Ventura cartoon?
That's right. I remember that. Was that Jim Carrey?
That
or was
wasn't.
it a sound-alike though?
It was a sound-alike.
Somebody did an impression of Jim Carrey.
I subscribed to the magazine and I got it every single week and I had my own Pet Detective card.
That's the coolest yet saddest thing I've ever heard. Do you still have
I
it?
don't know if it's sad. It came... No, I wish. I had it for years though, and someday, I'm sure I gave it to an ex and they kept it. It came with the first issue. The thugs go to Harry and Lloyd's door. There's a note. Dear Gasman, packed up and drove to Aspen. Sorry about the dosh. Happy emoji with little dimples. Lloyd and Harry. Aspen's misspelled and the emoji with the dimples killed me.
It's really funny, and I like the fact that the Shay goes, "That man, we're dealing with pros here."
And he says that, and she said, "How do you know that?" And he goes, "Gas, man. They know I've got gas." Joe says they'll get that money back, and they ain't ever reaching Aspen.
You're laughing already. You quote this scene to me all the time, and with good reason. Chris said, "Did you notice the very first joke that we get in this movie immediately?" He's like, "Look, they got the monkeys. They were a major influence on the Beatles." Jokes like that you would have missed when you were a kid or not understood.
It's amazing. Like, I kind of like this. He calls the waitress Flo. That's a reference to the character Flo from the TV show Alice. Lloyd says to Harry, "I like mingling with these laid-back country folk. I like it a lot."
Right, let's talk about that for a second. That line reading of "I like it a lot" has stuck with me. I can't hear the words "I like it a lot" without doing it in that voice now. There's a few of them in this movie, but in general, Jim Carrey's got a lot of this. Like, see the way he spells the word beautiful, beautiful. That is how I spell that word from now on. I always think of Jim Carrey saying that.
It's a language.
Yeah.
He created that. What he ended up doing, run about, just after Man in the Moon, Me, Myself and Irene, he starts to quote himself and do an impression of himself.
Everybody's done it. Schwarzenegger done it, John. People
Everybody does
catchphrases.
it. He sort of... His career starts to go elsewhere in the noughties. Bruce Almighty is a major hit. That's the last like huge major hit. Mr. Popper's Penguins is big, but it's not been the
Bruce
same.
Almighty big.
Sonic's big. Sonic's been massive.
But it's not him. I mean, he's in it, but it's Sonic is the IP. You're buying it because the character already.
They get their food. Harry spills some salt. Lloyd tells him it's bad luck, so he gives him some advice. Throw some salt over your right shoulder.
I love the fact that Harry does this immediately, no questions asked. He just picks up the salt shaker and just tosses it without a second thought.
He doesn't look over his shoulder.
He doesn't even look cautious. He's not like, are you sure I should be doing this? He just picks up and goes, okay, and just launches it.
And looks back at his food.
Mm-hmm.
It hits.
Who does it hit? This trucker.
It hits this 6'5" trucker with a trucker hat that says "Wine 'em, dine 'em, 69 'em."
He walks over all intimidating. It's shot really well here. It's kind of shot at a low angle to make him look even bigger than he is. He looks intimidating. He walks over. What does he say? Right, who the fuck did that?
Who the fuck threw the salt shaker? Lloyd's pointing.
Lloyd is grassing him right up.
He's
looking out the window, but he's pointing his finger right at him.
Harry notices this and it's like, man, come on. And he's pure scared. And he goes, and one of the truckers' pals shouts,
"Kick his ass, Seabass!
Kick his ass, Seabass!"
Is it his surname? Is it first?
Jonathan Seabass.
I mean, my dad had a file called Smudge. So, like, this guy could just be... I don't know. It brings up more questions than answers, but it's really funny.
Seabass just stands over them and he says, "Are you going to eat that?" Pointing to this beautiful, by the way, basket of... I love that basket.
Yeah, I love a diner basket with fries and a burger in it. Can't beat it.
It looks good.
We went for burgers. We got a wee basket like this.
We go for burgers often. I like a basket, man.
I prefer a basket and a burger joint.
It airs. I like my burger to
Make sure
breathe.
your stuff's not too hot.
My fries need to breathe. Do you remember when Mo wears the basket on his
That's
seat?
right.
And he's like, "Oh, you do the stink lines and everything." Uncle Mo. He asks if he's going to eat this. He says, "Yeah, well, no."
Jeff
yeah,
Daniels is amazing here, acting terrified.
I was thinking about it. Yeah, maybe.
He doesn't know what to say. He's so terrified, and his expressions are brilliant.
Seabass just lifts the roof off this burger.
And does this big manky grogger into
He
it.
grogs a dollion into this, man.
It's
You hear it land, man.
It's disgusting.
Relaxing on the booth, telling Harry he wimped out.
You totally wimped out, man. And he goes, the guy hogged on my burger. This is a bit uncharacteristically brilliant. It's called Dumb and Dumber, and these two guys are idiots. And I know that he says later that he's seen it in a movie.
It's from a Jeff Daniels movie. My mum says she says, "I could never understand why you loved this so much." I was a huge, massive fan of Jonathan Demme's Something Wild. Jeff Daniels, Melanie Griffith.
Yeah, I know the movie, but I've never seen it.
You've got an incredible, one of my favourite Ray Liotta's in that, man. Plays a psycho in that. This is a scam from that.
Well, first of all, they go up to Seabass. They apologised, offered to buy him a round of drinks, him and his buddies a round of drinks because of the situation earlier. They said, fine, whatever, make it 4 whatever brands of beer. Boilermakers. They go up to the waitress and they say, Seabass has offered to pay for our check, put it on his tab. The waitress is like, Seabass said that.
Seabass said that?
And then they look over at Seabass. Seabass points to the table as if it's on me. He's really saying, bring the beers here, but obviously she doesn't see this.
It's one of those things people do in a bar. You turn round, the waiter, it's a free kind of acknowledgement.
Total natural, but again, it's far too smooth and nice
Harry,
for these characters. It kind of brings me out of it. In any other movie, this works, but I'm like, these guys are absolute dafties.
Harry adds a bunch more stuff.
He just pulls a newspaper
some
and
Twizzlers.
That's right, whatever's on the till. And then it cuts to them driving away, delighted with themselves, quite rightly. They're all happy. We see Seabass and the rest of the crew go out the diner being like, God damn, meh. It's like that South Park King where they're all like, meh.
Harry asks where he learned it. Lloyd says he saw it in a movie once.
He says, what happened? Did they get away scot-free?
He says, no. The diner folk get revenge, catch up with them up the road and slit their throats. It was a good one. And we hear Harry push the gas on the pedal. Lloyd needs to pee. And we get the beer bottles.
I didn't find this funny then. I don't really find it funny now.
This is hilarious. You need to leave this house via the window.
There is some funny lines, but the fact that
Holland Williams is amazing in this.
all the things that he does before and after, all his lines and stuff's funny, but see him drinking the pee, that's just gross, man, and
It's
funny.
so good, man.
He's acting his arse off. I will say this. So Lloyd needs to pee, but they can't pull over because they've just left this diner and he's too scared to stop in case they get their throat slit. So they've got a couple empty beer bottles in the back. That's never explained why he's got all these empty beer bottles in his car.
Because they drink and drive.
It's kind of fucked up. So he pees, but the bottle starts filling up, so he needs another one, and he needs to switch hands. At one point, Harry's holding four full beer bottles while driving. And he says, what are you, a camel? And Jim Carrey makes this hilarious camel noise. This cop sees them, drives up beside the window. He's driving while holding all these beer bottles at the same time. And he says, pull over. And he goes, no, it's a cardigan, but thanks for noticing.
Jim Carrey leans over and says,
Killer boots, man! That's all he does, step on your bit there. Can I say another thing about school? This became the slagging you got. See if you dared to come into school with 2 stripes or any shitey shoes. Killer boots, man! Everybody would say it and they'd point at you and they would embarrass you
I
in the
remember
playground.
when Chrissy Hingy came in and he had I wore a Nike swoosh jacket to school a lot.
Yeah.
And
'Cause you were cool.
he broke and this
Was it a dad?
this is terrible. Listen, I was fair off as Fox Keen and we were skint and all. He brought in this beige version of the jacket.
A turkey one. A fake turkey one.
The Nike tag was
Is it backwards?
it was backwards.
Oh no!
And it said 9. It said 9, like the number 9, but spelt like in Rido.
In the Nike font.
I gave him it relentlessly. It was.
It's a rite of passage. You need to be slagged for these things, man. Oh, did you know?
God, he obviously knew. No, he might have looked at himself in the mirror and thought it was alright.
It's the way we're in.
You know how like I see an ambulance in the mirror and think everything's
it's an
alright?
ambulance.
The world's fine.
I hope there's a world you don't understand the concept of mirrors.
Everything in there's alright.
If it's backwards, you're like, oh no.
The cop pulls them over, played greatly by Harland Williams. Not my favourite role with the Farrelly brothers. That is in a 2-minute scene and There's Something About Mary when he's the hitchhiker.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yep.
They're talking about 6-minute abs.
Mm-hmm.
He asked why they were speeding.
Yeah, then he looks down and sees a bunch of beer bottles and says, do you know it's illegal in, is it Illinois? Illegal in Illinois to drive around with open alcoholic containers.
It's illegal here to drive around
Yeah,
with open alcohol containers.
A little bit of drinking.
Sucking back some Grandpa's old cough medicine. He's like, hand that over, you little pumpkin pie haircutted freak.
That's great. That is a good line.
It spills on Harry.
It spills on Harry, and as he's handing it to the cop, he's trying to wipe Harry at the same time with his elbow. Why does the cop drink the piss? Because, right, imagine it's just beer, and a cop pulled over for drink driving. The cop, when they drink the beer either.
I mean, your classic cops at any scene as well will dip a finger into any white substance
And be like,
and use it.
cocaine.
That's your classic. He takes a sip and his reaction's pretty funny. He gives this choking kind of...
It's good physical. The neck crank is kind of horrible,
It's good.
but
He
it's good.
tells him to get out of here. Their
Why,
reaction...
again, that does make sense. Why would they be like, get out of here? I'd be like, get out of the car, you're under arrest.
I wouldn't want them spreading that I've drank their piss as well. I'd say get out of here and don't talk
I
about
suppose
it.
maybe he's just so embarrassed.
He's so
just
ashamed.
Aye.
We go to Mary's family in Aspen. They talk about the briefcase going missing. Man, 1994 was big. Not just for Jim Carrey, man, but
For briefcases?
for Briefcase, man. Briefcase was in Pulp Fiction as well.
That's right.
This was a big role.
It's a good MacGuffin to have in any movie.
Briefcase
Still is,
was...
man.
Briefcase still shows up and stuff.
If I had a movie coming out this year
Would you put him in it?
and I needed some item that important was in it, put it in a briefcase.
He's still
It
good at
always
what he
works.
does. He's hardly aged, I know.
He's doing well, man. He is doing well for himself.
He's doing alright, Briefcase.
Some IMDb, by the way. Fucking hell.
Fucking in
4
everything, man.
pages long.
He's in more things than Eric Roberts, man. We go to Mary's family in Aspen. They talk about the briefcase going missing and they're worried. They're worried about Mary's partner Bobby, who is a hostage. Nicholas arrives, played by Charles Rocket. Do you know Charles Rocket? Charles Rocket. He was also the dad in Hocus Pocus.
Oh, right. He was good in Hocus Pocus.
He was fantastic in Hocus Pocus.
Him and the mum dressed up like Madonna.
Dancing, very funny in Hocus Pocus. Good comedic actor. Good in this. Good presence in this with the small screen time he's got. He's quite threatening and stuff. Good presence. In some really good debatable SNL. He was in SNL with Eddie Murphy. The
Like 80s SNL.
80, I believe 79, 80 Piscopo Eddie Murphy era. He gets the sack. He is part of a cliffhanger where they take on the Who Shot JR. They ask who shot you and he says, I don't know, but we need to fucking find out. He swore. Charles Rocket in the 90s kills himself. He slits his own throat. That is like, you don't hear of that.
But it's just a story that's just unbelievable. It sounds like it's made up for a film. So can I just interrupt though? Who is Nick?
A family friend I've wrote here.
Because this Nick guy is there and he's part of the family and he's talking to the mum and dad, but they never explain who he is. He's just some guy.
Yeah,
that knows
but
the
he's
family.
important to the family, we gather.
Yeah, but it doesn't tell you why he's important. It's just a really strange character. Like, I get that he's there to be the villain. I understand that totally. I just thought, why can't they establish who he is? He just kind of comes in and he's there also. It's weird. I don't know. I found it strange.
They advise Mary to act normal and they'll hopefully be able to hear. They'll hopefully hear from the kidnappers. Nicholas says you never know what they could do to a man. He's pulling a Garrison. He's for ransom. He's in on it.
Oh, you can tell. Even obviously, I've seen the movie, so I know what's coming. But as soon as he walks on screen, I'm like, he's a baddie.
Lloyd drives at night. We get the Mary fantasy.
This fantasy is all over the place.
It's funny.
It's hilarious. It's so over the top. Can I tell you something, man? I'm not ashamed to admit this. See where he greets Mary at the door, she opens the door, and all these doves fly out.
John Woo style.
Aye, and he gives her a big hug and stuff, and he turns around and he lifts her dress up, and you see her wee bare arse.
Yep.
A little bit of movement
Good butt, man.
here, but it works. That scene works for
Good
me.
butt, yeah.
Not this time round, but see when I was a kid, man, you knew I was pausing that VHS.
Totally. Lauren Holly's beautiful. A good
She's
actor
beautiful, man.
too.
That wee butt shot.
Calm down.
That was that, man. Oh, yes.
You're gonna dumber and dumber yourself.
Dumber.
In the fantasy, she's so happy to see Lloyd and the case. He peeks at her butt. He tells a story to her room. Lloyd imagines that this is what it's like to live a sort of more prestigious life.
He's telling this ridiculous story. They're all wearing Christmas jumpers or big winter jumpers. He's a star of the show. He's like up playing charades. It reminds me of the scene in Cable Guy where he's doing charades and he's like star of the show. He's telling this joke. Everybody's killing
And he's on the
themselves laughing.
karaoke. When the truth is not here.
Yeah. And then a fart joke here. I'm not a fan of fart jokes. But in the context of the fantasy, it makes sense. Because to him, this is the height of humour that's going to impress a room.
I like the punchline of the joke is And he says, "Do you love me?" She says, "No, but that's a real nice ski mask." They all treat this like it's
the height of comedy.
It's
like
brilliant.
in his mind, because it's his fantasy. This is high class humor, and it's going to. But if he'd done this in real life in front of a group of people, they'd be like,
he'd get kicked out.
Aye.
He takes Mary to dinner. The waiter sits them both, adjusts Mary, takes her arm, and Gomez's her.
Yeah, well, I was going to go with Pepe Le Pew, just kissing up her arm and like basically licking her and stuff and kind of eating her arm. It's kind of gross, and she's a champion for like doing these scenes because this must have been hard to film.
Lloyd does not like this.
By the way, he puts his napkin down and stands up and adjusts his suit.
Polo neck.
And then, it's just, I mean, we won't describe scene by scene, but basically this ridiculously over the top
Dubbed karate.
Kung Fu fight happens. He kicks people through windows.
It's a full Shaw Brothers scene. It's excellent with the sound effects. A little racist. Definitely a little racist.
It verges on being racist,
yeah.
It doesn't go over the top.
It feels like
bit...
I'd like to think me over here. Everybody's in on it. It feels like the joke is it's hyper.
Yeah.
It's so surreal, it's hyper.
Yeah, and the joke is that this is all happening in his head.
This is how he's going to win Mary and she's going to be so impressed by him.
Like if this scene actually happened in the movie, it would be a bit weird, but the fact is it's his dream, so of course it's so over the top.
He fights this chef. He's the final villain of sorts. It feels like a play on Bruce Lee's Dragon, but it's been a while since I've seen it.
I think so, aye. This chef guy beats him up, but then he pops back up and wipes the blood through his mouth and goes, hey. And then he just reaches in and pulls his heart out and he's still beating.
And the chef is
Indiana Jones too.
The chef watches.
Yeah, he puts it in a doggy bag and gives it to him.
His hand's all bloody. He hands him his own heart. Before that, the pre-boss was this big maitre d'. He gets down on his knees and punches his boss like it's that boxing thing and then bites him. The second honeymoon hotel. The scene that changes it all. So, Harry and Lloyd are in this.
The unrated cut difference?
This is a difference in the unrated cut that was only available on Blu-ray for a really long time.
Okay.
You couldn't get the theatrical. And now available is this crazy hybrid cut. I can tell you this for a fact because I've seen this over 100 times easily, and I really mean that. I was very fortunate 2020 to see it in the showcase for a $5.
Yeah, they used to show classic movies. And
classic movies, right. $5. First time I've ever seen it in the cinema. It was amazing. So, both characters are in this heart-shaped tub. It's a very funny sight gag.
Mm-hmm.
And he uses a gay slur on Harry.
Oh, yeah, okay, this isn't in the cut.
In an extended scene. So aggressive, so strange and weird.
Why is a comma? What's the context? Is he just like, you're a such and such?
Because they're both in the tub together. It changes the film entirely in the unrated cut. It was genuinely upsetting. Mm-hmm. I don't have precious feelings. It was upsetting because these two characters that we know and love don't know about that stuff. Their
so
hearts
blissfully unaware of that kind of hatred.
They are blissfully unaware.
Yeah.
They don't know hatred or have any understanding of that concept.
Yeah. And even if they did, I don't think it would bother them.
No.
They've got in their relationship in general is a warm one. They would make fun of each other, but in a funny way.
Yeah.
They wouldn't call each other slurs like that.
They're two big kids without that nastiness that kids have got.
And kids learn that.
Yeah.
That's learned behaviour. Aye.
So it was really disappointing. It was horrible. And it made it mean. It was a mean movie. And it wasn't as funny. And I just didn't care as much. And rightfully, it was cut the theatrical version.
Yeah. Which is much better because the version I seen, and I assume that you've seen today, it cuts to them, they're in a pool and they're talking about their exes.
They're talking about Rita Felcher.
Harry mentions her name. Lloyd seems to know her very well, it's implied.
He said
by the
they
look
had,
in his face.
He said they had something good, something real good.
It says that then one day at the blue she left me.
He says one day at the blue I got a John Deere letter. She said something about him not listening to her, but he wasn't paying attention. He always thought there was someone else. Lloyd looks very suspicious. Rita Felcher comes back for the sequel. Joe is in the phone booth. He is on the phone to Nicholas. They are briefing. We get not Ray Romano as he's complaining.
Guess what this guy's in?
But
Friends.
obviously he's in Friends.
This guy's the wee chef. No, he's not Monica when she starts her new job.
He's in everything, man.
Yes.
He's getting on Big Joe's nerves here. He's kind of funny here. He wants Joe off the phone and he's like, you can't see me, huh? What the phone?
Get off the phone. Deborah.
I like when he turns round and he says 2 seconds and
It punches him through the glass and knocks him out.
cut back to Harry. He says, according to the map, we've only gone about 4 inches.
Jokes like that are so stupid, but they always make me laugh.
They pick up Joe.
Who's pretending to be a hitchhiker.
In the unrated cut, she says she's going to pee here. She says she's going to squeeze the lemon.
That's funny. That should have been in the movie. She's a completely useless character, by the way.
I remember her from Blank Check. Do you remember Blank Check?
I've not remembered it since you've said that.
She definitely does that 90s thing where she definitely kisses a 12-year-old at the end of the movie, on the lips.
It came to happen a lot back
For
then,
a
didn't it?
long time in the movie as well, by the way.
Oh, that's weird.
There's movies like that. Matt, the freakiest is The Prophecy with Christopher Walken and Eric Stoltz full on kisses that little girl on the mouth for a long time, man. It's uncomfortable.
And because it's Eric Stoltz, it's even more uncomfortable.
Because he's that diddler, man.
Yeah,
Mind and
butterfly effect.
Oh, wouldn't you want him making your
is
Robin Hood film?
That's an Egypt feature, by the way. We need to talk about Butterfly Effect one day.
That scene is minging, man.
That movie is minging.
Amy Smart gets done rotten in that, man.
I mean, the
Got
oddie.
it in every timeline, man. It's brutal. She gets Jennied in every one of them.
She does. Her and Jenny have got the worst fates imaginable.
Lloyd and Harry play You're It with Joe in the middle.
Oh man, I would have slapped these guys silly.
They play with these mad rules. These must be...
We've all done this. Everybody's got their own rules. No, so no takes his back seats and all that sort of stuff. Or
I was invisible, so that didn't count.
I've got a shield. All that part.
I did have a shield. It worked as well. This following moment is improvised by Jim Carrey. Jeff Daniels never knew it was going to happen. And it's literally like watching 2 pals come up with something on the bit. He says, do you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? Guys! Jeff Daniels joins in at the end. Did you hear that?
Aye, he tries to match it.
And he goes, he joins in. Joe is losing it and he has been in this van for 2
All in
minutes.
30 seconds, aye.
Joe asks to turn on the radio. He says, radio? Who needs a radio? Harry, you ready? Mark,
Ing,
Bird,
Mark.
Bassine.
And they just keep going with this Mockingbird song.
See, by the time he's like, Mockingbird, don't everybody have you heard of you? Jim Carrey starts doing this dance. He notices this family of singers, I guess, and he says, Lloyd, should we pick them up? And he goes, pick them up! At this point, it's a big sing-along. Diner number 2.
It's a diner, but it's also like a spicy food joint. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like, I don't know, like Joey's Spicy Shack or something like that. And it's all like pictures of peppers all over the walls. I'm sorry, if I'm driving through any road in America and I come across this place, I am driving right on. I'm telling you right now, Pappy doesn't stop for spicy food.
Who's Pappy? You're Pappy? Like Drake? The Dr. Pepper Pappy. They dare each other to take one. It gets to a pretty annoying level, and Joel dares them both to eat one at the same time.
Yeah, they keep on arguing about who's going to eat one first, and he's like, why don't you go on free and do it at the same time? So they do. They take these peppers and basically instantly regret it. They start spitting and sputtering and making a big scene of themselves.
They suffer throughout this entire thing, and Joe excuses himself to go use the phone. He's happy.
He does a wee smile.
He's very happy for these two to be hurt in a little way.
Yeah.
Harry suggests using the condiments to cleanse himself, the mustard and the ketchup. The way here Jim Carrey grabs the mustard and ketchup and slams them down so that they scoot up, and he sticks his tongue out, sums up Jim Carrey in his eagerness and ability to escalate a scene. That's what he does. It's so natural to him. They spike Joe. He asks about the briefcase subtly.
Man, not only did they spike Joe, they put about 7 or 8 of these fucking peppers on his burger. They don't even just put one for a laugh. They saturate this thing with spicy peppers. If I ate this thing, I would be dead.
They chat to him and they're constantly asking, how's your burger?
They find this the funniest thing ever. They're trying to keep cool and they're doing a terrible job at it.
They're like two cheeky little kids at this point.
Yeah, they're exactly like kids that have done a wee prank on Pappy, and they're just trying to make him eat this. And he keeps on trying to talk, and they're like, why don't you take your burger and we'll tell you. They reveal to Joe that it's not their briefcase at all, that they found it at the airport and they just want to give it back. And Joe realises at this moment, my God, these guys are dafties and they don't know what they've got.
He finds it hilarious.
Yeah. He laughs to himself as he takes a big triumphant bite out of this burger.
Talk about being in the wrong place at the wrong time. The pepper irritates his ulcer.
Yep. He starts choking and he falls back out his chair. He's covered in sweat. He looks minging.
He looks horrible.
They are pointing and laughing at his face. He's having like a heart attack or something here, and they're just like,
they're like, we got you, man. And
then a couple of seconds pass, and they're like,
they realise,
are you okay, buddy? It was just a prank.
When Lloyd goes, I like when Harry goes, it was just a goof, man.
He's gurgling and sort of trying to say words, foaming at the mouth, and he's saying pills, pills, pills. Harry goes into his pocket.
Whilst Lloyd gives him CPR with his leg and smashes his chest.
That's right, yeah, he's just punching him. Earlier, when we seen Joe on the phone, he was talking to Nick about how he's going to slip some rat poison in their burgers. So we're told, the audience is told that he's got some rat poison in his pocket. And that is what Harry pulls out. He obviously sees this container. He assumes it's his medication. He pulls it out and accidentally feeds him that poison and kills Joe.
Before he dies, he says, son of a bitch. Gurgles, dies. Lloyd checks his breathing, then says, check please. We get the cops involved in these shenanigans. They had to show up somewhere. They asked for info on these two. One other cop comes and says they're driving an 84 sheepdog.
And then we're at this gas station.
I really like when Lloyd's whipping this snack about.
Yeah, it comes out that this.
Is it a licorice?
It's a licorice whip or something like that, or a Slim Jim or something like that. And he comes out and he's like just swinging it about as he walks it. No, do you know what it is? It's not a candy. It's the key for the bathroom.
Right, that makes sense.
It's on like a wooden plaque. He comes out the gas station with the key on the big wooden plaque thing. He's swinging it about. As he's doing that and he goes to the bathroom, Harry's talking to this attractive woman at the gas station.
She's very cute.
Very cute, very attractive. Cute. They're talking to each other. It's kind of funny because he has to lift the leg of this dog up to get into the gas nozzle, and it looks like the dog's peeing kind of thing.
Here's another line, man. To break the ice, Harry says, is it your skis? She says, yeah. He says, both of them? And she just looks, man, come on. She's a great scene partner with him as well. Scooshes petrol everywhere and it looks like he's pissing. The dog's pissing, it's great.
As we cut to Lloyd in the bathroom here, did you notice the way he's pissing? Jim Carrey's standing, but he's swaying and like, I mean, obviously we don't see it, but it looks like he's swirling his dick around in a big circle.
Yeah.
He's no missing That's all for that
It's
scene.
where they show up.
That's I don't think that piss has landed everywhere but the bowl.
He notices some interesting graffiti.
What does it say exactly? Is it one of those like, if you need a good time, be here at, is it like 2:15? It's got like a time on it.
For Manly Love, be here March 25th at 2:15 a.m. sharp.
He looks at his watch and of course that's the exact time on his
right
watch.
now. Somebody comes in that we recognise.
Well, we see these feet under the door. I think there's a chap on the door. Lloyd looks a bit freaked out because he's just looked at his watch, seen the time, then seen these feet, and then the door swings open. And it's fucking Seabass!
Seabass?
And I'm thinking here, I've seen this movie a few times, and I'm like, oh man, this is when Seabass beats him up. Or maybe like dunks his head in the toilet or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Gets his revenge. The following scene, I have no recollection of.
It's prison revenge.
It's fucking crazy.
It's crazy.
So, Harry is on the outside of this gas station talking to this pretty lady, and is it a cigarette she gets or something?
Yeah.
And he gets a match and he lights it for her, and he flicks the match. But of course he's covered in oil because he got it over himself, so he's flicked the match and lit himself on fire, right? Yeah. Petrol all over him, he's lit himself on fire. So he's lit his leg on fire. And she's talking to him, trying to give him her number.
She's talking about, but she mentions she usually gets with like idiots, like accident prone guys. At one point he leans on her wing mirror and breaks it.
And he gives it to us, that's a bit loose.
So at this point, his leg's on fire. She's unsure about giving him the number, but he needs it quick because he's on fire.
She starts giving him the number and she's like, oh no, sorry, that's my old number. Like, what's my number? And
I can be such a ditz.
Yeah, and he's just like, just give me the number.
Lady, just give me the damn number.
And do you notice that his eyes are rolling back in his head as he says this as well?
And because he's on fire, he looks a bit like a demon.
Yeah. And she just takes off. She's like, what does she say? Like, oh, you're too pushy, and she just drives away.
If you're going to be pushy, just forget it. He runs in, kicks the stall door open.
So that he can put his foot in the toilet to put the fire out. However,
accidentally saving Lloyd from this greasy encounter.
So basically, a couple of seconds before Harry bursts in on fire, we see Seabass in this toilet. Lloyd's cowering in a corner, and Seabass grabs the top of his head and pushes him down the way towards his crotch.
And
we hear Lloyd saying, go to a happy place, go to...
And he starts sucking his fuck.
And it's like, I've seen this movie a million times, and I'm like, is he going to rape him?
He's going to do something to him.
Is it like a pure prison scene that I've just never noticed before?
I mean, Seabass has done time.
I know, but I don't know. I'd never seen this before. So Lloyd obviously kicks down the door, opens his leg in fire, and accidentally knocks out Seabass with the swinging door, saving Lloyd in the process. But that fucked me up. I had to pause the movie here and be like, what did I just watch?
The cops have put a patrol on a border. They say the putsch is 30 miles away. Lloyd, in my cut here, do you have quite an extended sequence? Lloyd doesn't want to talk about what just happened. This goes on for a wee bit, and this is another hybrid moment. Lloyd, they talk about the Seabass incident, and it goes on forever. Harry finds it amusing and keeps winding him up about it.
Not at all.
It is not funny whatsoever. They're in the shagging wagon. It touches on homophobic. It isn't funny. It just
a couple of
isn't.
prison jokes or that sort of stuff for that. Carry on.
Man, love, affection. It just.
The guy was nearly raped, man.
It's
joke about that.
It's slow. It's also Dumb and Dumber, though, right? I will never be that precious like that. It's like it slows down a road movie entirely, man. Like,
at least they had the sense to cut it, because that is not in the cut that I saw.
Hey guys, big gulps, huh? Lloyd comes out a service station.
It comes out at a 7-Eleven or something. It comes out, these two guys are standing there drinking big gulps, and he says, "Big gulps, huh?" And he just completely ignored him and goes, "See you later."
He gets in, he notices Harry sleeping, and he says some people just weren't cut out for life on the road. Lloyd drives, and whilst Harry's sleeping, he holds Harry's nose to stop him breathing.
Is he trying to kill him?
That's hilarious.
And but the funniest thing about that is he's too busy trying to do that he misses his cut off. There's an exit for Aspen, which is obviously what the police have set up, but then there's another one going to Nebraska. Lincoln, Nebraska.
It's elaborate, but it's supposed to be like that.
I know it's a movie, but
takes him off a sixth of the way in a different direction, so they drive a great distance. He wakes Harry up by throwing a scrap cup at his head. I expected the Rocky Mountains to be a little rockier than this.
John Denver's full of shit.
They've realised, and Harry sits in a field in a big mood in his buttsuit.
You can see he's got a pure builder's bum, as my mum would call it, his buttsuit. He's sitting there in a wee huff, angry that he's drove all night, 5 hours in the wrong direction. Lloyd's optimistic though, and still like, we can take this back, it's not that bad, blah blah blah. They start yelling at each other, they have a fight, and Harry says, I'm going to walk home, and he storms off. They're
out of money, they've nothing left. Lloyd's upset. He says, I guess you've never made a mistake. We dissolve. Some time's passed, and Harry's walked a great distance.
Hitchhiking, or trying to hitchhike.
And we see this figure in the horizon, and it's moving a little fast, and we see it's on a little bike. Enter one of my favourite vehicles ever. If I had all the money in the world, it would be a Batmobile in this.
Now, what is this vehicle that he's driving? Obviously, it's a wee bike.
I've seen it. There's loads of them in Italy. It's a hacked moped.
But it's also not a moped. It looks like a kid's bicycle. How is there 2 seats on it?
It's a gas-powered bike.
Yeah, but it's an actual bike. It's got a wee bell. It was ding, ding. Like, it's not like a moped, like when it's electric, but it's got an engine.
Yeah.
It's like a bicycle with an engine.
It's amazing.
I don't understand how it works.
I think it's so beautiful, man. It's a bust red moped bike that's all hacked together. Harry asks, where did you get that? Some kid back in town. Traded the van for it straight up. I can get 70 miles to the gallon in this hog. Harry says, just when I thought you couldn't get any dumber, you go and do something like this. And totally redeem yourself.
They get on the bike and they're off, and we get that nice sort of helicopter shot of them driving along this big empty road in Arkansas or wherever they are. We get that as we sort of fade into, we are now entering Aspen. The weather gets colder, we're now in the snow, they're all frozen together. There's this weird scene again, don't like this, where he says he needs to pee, and Lloyd's just like, well, just pee then, Harry.
He says, just go, man. And he says, oh,
it's warm.
It's kind of warm. The photography of them riding the bike uphill in the snow.
Well, these cars behind them, there's loads of cars behind them.
Holding up traffic. I love all of that, man. The uphill struggle's amazing, and it sums up their friendship and all of that. The full plot of the movie. When they get there, he says, we're there, man. And they're frostbitten. You can see their bogies and stuff are like all frozen and stuck to them. There is a really funny visual joke here where Lloyd tries to get off the bike and he takes Harry with him because he's stuck to him. That is genius. And Harry's on Lloyd, and he's perched up like
his legs are
monkey
dangling
on his back.
Surely Jim Carrey isn't that strong. They must have had to have put them on like some sort of harness.
You've got harnesses or stuntmen. There's a couple of really well achieved technical things
in
in
because this looks so funny, but I'm like, there's no way he can do that. He can't swing his leg off a bike with him attached to him that easily.
I think a lot of the transitions are masterful in this film.
Oh, there's a couple of
ones. When Mary's topless with the headlights.
Yeah, when he's having his fantasy.
Great cut. Uh-huh. I still to this day I'm like, did she practically wear that? And they just upped the expo. It was a great cut, that.
Or she's maybe just wearing like a
green
screen
I
bra.
don't know how they did it, but it was lovely the way they did it. Mm-hmm. They bump into a young couple in their walk through Aspen and watch them walk away. Harry says, check the butt on that. Lloyd says,
yeah, I bet you he works out.
It was a good butt, man.
It was a nice button, man. He's wearing those
Like
jeans. They look like
Levi's.
Springsteen.
Yeah. They talk briefcase. They need to look Mary up. If they find her, she'll no doubt invite them right in for tea and strumpets. They check the phone book. Harry says, check the briefcase. Samsonite. I was way off.
That joke went way over my head so many times. I was like, I don't get the joke. That's a brand of briefcase, by the way, in case anybody missed that. That's funny, man. And it comes back later.
They don't know what to do. So, cut to a classic dumpster fire.
Harry says that his hands are frozen, and Lloyd's like, I need to take off a pair of these extra gloves. My hands are getting sweaty.
You've been wearing an extra pair of gloves this whole time.
Yeah, we're in Aspen, it's going to be cold.
That is the smartest thing he said. And the meanest.
The way Harry snaps here as well.
He's clearly wore them on that bike.
They start fighting here, physically fighting. Harry's had enough. He grabs the briefcase and he's like, I'm going to end it all. I'm going to throw this away. This is the cause of all this.
The briefcase goes in the air.
Yeah, he throws it in there as he tackles him. They're sort of fighting.
He
There's a bit where he
strangles.
he pins him. He's like, Harry!
He says, Harry, your hands are freezing. He's not even bothered about being
His clothes
killed.
are too cold.
They notice the cracked briefcase.
Yeah, and it's
What's
just
it filled
full of
with?
cash money.
Money!
This is the dream. Imagine finding a suitcase somewhere in like Glasgow or something when you're a wee guy.
It wouldn't work like this for us. It would end up like...
You know, we're getting stabbed immediately.
It'd end up like Shallow Grave for us.
Yes.
We'd get Lily Allen's dad, and there'd be hunters of cunts after him. Peter Mullen and his assassin pal would come
It's
after
always
us.
Peter Mullen.
They will spend a little cash and load the briefcase with IOUs. Every penny will be accounted for.
In fairness, they live up to their word and they do write all the IOUs.
It doesn't mean they're going to replace the money.
But at least
I can replace £100 with a bit of paper and write on it. That means fuck off.
But at least
Use your wallet.
I'm not saying this is a good idea, but at least they keep their records, their receipts.
That doesn't mean anything.
I know.
What you just said.
I know, but
They're honourable people in a way.
aye.
They stay at the Hotel Stanley. Cut to the most expensive hotel in the area, the Hotel Stanley.
The
And it's
guy who's showing them around is like, oh, this is where Princess Diana and her husband stayed or whatever when they came to visit.
reserved for dignitaries,
Lloyd
illustrious.
walks into the room and steps on the bed and starts jumping on it. He's like, we'll take it.
This hotel was inspiration for The Shining.
Was it?
Yeah. Lloyd pulls up to the hotel in a Lambo. He tries to get out and presents spill out from the car.
I love this. That car is rammed big shopping. They've obviously just blew all the money immediately.
It's the fact he's handing out $100 bills as tips all the time.
Yeah.
Not
Not just in this scene, like every scene from now until the end of the movie, he's just giving people money.
they're very generous. They're just stupid.
Because they don't know anything about money. They think that they've got unlimited money, which they kind of do, I guess.
In their innocent view, it should be shared with
Yeah.
everybody. That's how they view it.
I do like the fact that they don't even rent the Lambo. Later on in the movie, we find out they flat out buy it with cash.
They bought it. I like when he's handing hundreds of dollars out to the staff and Harry just takes a wad.
Aye, that's right. He passes it to him. It cuts to them in the hotel room and they're watching a commercial and they're crying their eyes out and they're wiping their tears with $100 bills.
Crying with money, and then they see this ad in the paper for a bird preservation event.
Yeah, it's the Snowball or whatever it's called.
The snow owl.
Yeah, and Mary's there.
We
Mary
see
and her family are in the paper.
Mary's going to be there. Lloyd recognises Mary. Harry helps Lloyd read.
Lloyd is struggling with every single word. He is very illiterate.
I don't know.
It's kind of sweet that Harry helps him though.
It's nice that they help each other.
Aye.
Like,
It's one of those couples that kind of need the other one to survive.
they're a couple that should maybe have a third person help.
There should be a carer involved, definitely. Somebody that visits them maybe once a day just to...
I think they should have one of the buildings with a concierge.
Aye,
And
and a
big
walk. Bars on the windows.
We get this Pretty Woman sequence. This is amazing. Do you like this?
Yeah, well, this is the classic sort of movie montage parodied. Pretty Women, as you said, they're trying on the suits. He's trying on all his tuxedos. He's doing the whole shaking his head thing.
They're posh and they get worse with each suit.
Yeah.
Lloyd gets a bowl cut.
Lloyd gets a bowl cut, which then they get their hair done really nice and they look at each other, then instantly mess it up because they don't like it. Lloyd's toes, man.
Oh,
These toes, I can't deal with this scene.
They
It's
are
gross.
awful. Gross.
Lloyd's getting a shave for this barber and he uses a ketchup packet to pretend that his throat's been slit.
Harry's getting a massage and he swaps with the missus.
This scene was weird.
I like that.
He's also wearing her dress.
I like that.
But
That's cool,
it
man.
was funny, but it also makes him look kind of smooth. It was like, because she's lying on that table, this beautiful woman lying on this table naked, and he's got her dress on. It's kind of like, did he just chat her into doing that?
He's in.
Did he just smooth talk her into
Yeah,
doing
man. He's loaded now.
that? So he just gave her hundreds of money. Please let me massage you.
And then the perfect suit. We get this orange
This minging orange tux, man. Oh,
and a big, is it cravat? What's
cravat.
that thing in the middle?
the
Cravat?
ruffles,
The ruffles.
the Seinfeld shirt.
It's the puffy short.
Yeah, it's a puffy Seinfeld shirt basically, but it's an orange version with this orange tux and orange top hat.
Harry is in love with this. He gets up.
And he starts clapping, and you see the designer standing with his head in his hands because he hates it.
And Lloyd starts tap dancing. He's so happy. He does a tap dance.
I like that in the next scene we cut to this ball and Harry's got this matching blue one.
They take
baby
take a horse and carriage to the event.
And again, when they get out the horse, they tip the guy with another 100.
Preservation Society for Owls. They soared into the event. Nicholas tries to stop them here, saying it's a 500 plate dinner. They give him $2,000 and say that's in case they want seconds. That's an accident, but that's a good comeback, man.
And it's quick math as well. He's managed to work out how many tickets that is.
You know, that's stupid.
Aye, I think he's at it. I think he's been smart the whole time. I love how Shay notices them immediately. She's just staring at the door and she's like, it's those guys to Nick.
Lloyd and Harry plan to be classy at this event. Real class and sophistication, they promise.
And then this chick walks past, and what is it that Harry says? Look at the cans on her or something?
He says, check the fun bags on that hose hound.
Jesus.
He says, check the fun bags on that hose hound. I have never heard hose hound
I've never heard it.
Does that mean what I think it
I
means?
think it does. But
She's a hound for hoses?
Yeah, she likes long. Yep. It's pretty rotten.
Lloyd says he would love to eat a liver with a bottle of G&T.
They both do the Silence of the Lambs bit together. That's good.
They order martinis as Nicholas and the family discuss the owls. Two beautiful, incredibly rare snow owls are presented. With this crowd's help, they hope to make them flourish once more. They are rare.
Lloyd at this point sees Mary across the dance floor and he gets all freaking out and he's nervous. He wants to go talk to her, but he can't. He turns to Harry. He's like, right, why don't you go and talk to her first and talk me up a wee bit, and then you invite her over. And Harry doesn't want to do it at first, but then kind of reluctantly agrees to.
I like when he says he's just get that old-fashioned feeling when he would do anything to boner.
He's like, that's a nice feeling.
Harry says that's a special feeling, Lloyd.
Harry walks over to Mary and his opening remark is, it's a nice set of hooters you've got there.
The birds. Owls.
I do like, so Harry starts talking to her, he starts talking about dogs. He makes this really bad bullshit
Canines
joke.
to the layperson.
Yes. He said we crossed a bull terrier with a shih tzu and we came out with bullshit, and then he does this amazing laugh at his own joke.
She barely registers it.
She gives him a very polite smile. At this point, Mary's, is it her mum?
Yeah, stepmom.
Also, Phoebe's mum and friends, just saying.
Could not care less.
She comes over, she's had a bit of a drink in her, man, and she's all about Harry.
She wants some Harry.
She wants some Harry. She wants some hose.
I like when Mary asks if there's been any unusual breeding and he says, nah, just usually doggy style. Helen interrupts like you said, asks if he could take Mary out a while on the slopes the next day. Harry reluctantly agrees. He gets back to Lloyd and lies to him. Says Lloyd has a date. Lloyd is overjoyed.
He grabs a champagne bottle.
He pops it.
Before that, he says this line, which has been resurrected in recent years. He grabs the bottle and goes, "Little bit of the bubbly," like that.
And he pops it.
And he pops it before we get to what happens next. Do you remember that line?
Little bit of the bubbly.
Anyway, he pops the champagne bottle. The cork flies, shoots like a fucking bullet, and it takes out one of these precious owls. There's white feathers everywhere.
Oh, you just see what is clearly a little teddy bear on the ground, and it's a very funny little shot. No
and they're
owls.
oblivious, they don't even notice what's happened.
He says this party really died.
And they both just walk off screen. And everybody's standing there outraged.
She and Nicholas the next day brief about these guys. Nicholas says they're good.
He says they killed that owl to send a message. We killed their birds, so they killed ours. They know what they're doing. They think it's revenge for Petey.
Lloyd straightens his fringe in the mirror with a comb, and he practices saying Mary's name. Merry Christmas.
That's funny.
Did you have that?
Yeah. This is when he's just about to walk into the bar.
Yeah.
And he gets there super early because he's nervous. I feel so bad for him here.
He's to get to the lobby bar for 10 a.m.
But he gets there like 9:30, but the barman lets him in early. He's wearing this ridiculous cowboy uniform as well, complete with the big yellow cowboy gloves. We get Harry who meets up with Mary, right? But the scene, they're on this ski lift and they're talking a wee bit, and she says it's good to be out the house, and he says why? She says, "Oh, it's just family stuff. I don't want to bore you with it." And he goes, "Okay, thanks."
And that's it.
He doesn't care. And then he immediately licks the pole and gets his tongue stuck to it, just like Christmas Story.
2 kids get on a ski lift and Harry's still here. We don't know where Mary is at this point, but he's still attached.
He's just been going round in a loop, stuck to this thing.
Lloyd asks the barman for the time. It's 1 o'clock. The barman takes sympathy on him, gives him a drink. Decent barman, man.
The barman goes, "She's a little late, and he goes, just a few hours."
The lady from the service station Harry was talking to shows up.
Sits beside him, and she's kind of into him, but he's not interested in her at all.
We're wondering what's going on here.
Well, she did say at the gas station that she was going to Aspen.
Yeah.
So it makes sense why she's there, but I'm not suspicious at all. During this movie, I totally forget who she is.
Mary notices Harry and
Still with his tongue on this thing.
he's sitting amongst the crowd and nobody's helping him. And she decides to help him, so she tugs on his head.
This looks gross. You see his tongue pull, it looks painful.
Have
man.
you ever done it?
No, I'm one idiot. I mean, sorry, have you ever done it?
Aye. They build a...
We have a wee sort of montage of their wee date here. So they build a snowman. She gives him a carrot and 2 stones or whatever. He makes them a bobby.
His face. He's so proud of himself.
She also doesn't mind it. She's kind of like, "Oh, what's he like?" And she puts him in the eyes and stuff, and he kind of smiles.
See the snowball fight.
The snowball fight is so intense. She hits him
Playfully
innocently with a bit of snowball, and he picks up this big belter and smacks her in the face with it.
She's just trying to flirt. And he sees it as all out war.
He sees red and just... So she hits him in the face. He hits her in the face super hard. She looks straight, and then he tackles her down this mountain slope. And then digs her face in it.
When he gets up, he does the put him up. He's ready to go.
He's ready, and he's not kidding. He's ready to scrap.
He's just burnt through all her money.
There wants to fight her.
He knows her man's maybe... He doesn't know her man's kidnapped. That's untrue. But he's burnt through her money.
He's burnt through her money, and he knows that his
pal
best
wants
friend
to
wants
be
to
with her.
bang her. But he's just turned into a scumbag here, and now he wants to put the jukes up.
He's going to box on the mountain.
It's so funny.
Lloyd is being annoyed by this woman. He asks the barman if he knows Mary. He says yes, and he grabs him by the collar.
He says yes, she comes in here all the time, and he's like, what's that supposed to mean?
For dinner.
And he goes, oh. So he tells him where he lives, and he goes to run out the bar, but before he does, he looks at the sign that says man landed on the moon.
No way.
Also, how can you read this though?
He can't read.
He can't read.
It's big font, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
He leaves the bar, so excited, and he screams, "We've landed on the moon!" Lloyd doesn't bring that up again in this film. Lloyd watches Harry drop off Mary, and he's heartbroken.
This scene now, or this reaction is now a gif or a gif, however way to pronounce it, on the internet now. Like this scene of him holding back
throwing
tears
up.
and then kind of
Dry heaving.
It's became its own image. It's everywhere on the internet now.
Harry and Mary make a date for that night. She suggests maybe 7:45. He says he's got some stuff today. What about 7:45?
And she laughs thinking he's joking, and he goes, alright, 7:45. He's annoyed at her.
Back at base, Lloyd listens to Harry as he puts on a show, pretending to not know what's going on as Lloyd details his total misery and heartbreak. Harry suggests, maybe it was 10 at night. Why would she want to meet you at a bar at 10 in the morning? I don't know. I just thought she was maybe a raging alcoholic. They both laugh.
They both do this fake laugh. Obviously, Harry's pretending and Lloyd's playing along with it to keep him on side for now. He goes in to get ready for his date, and then we've got the famous, again, another scene like the piss and bottle scene that I didn't find funny then. Don't find it funny now.
Porn laxatives.
The porn laxative's kind of funny.
It's called Turbo Lax.
Turbo Lax, and he reads the instructions, says 1/2 teaspoon should relieve symptoms quickly. Again, he can read the instructions on a bottle of laxative, no
He
bother.
pours the bottle.
He reads the instructions though, but he can't read.
It's called Dumb and Dumber, man.
It's
I
just
mean,
this
you need to
selective reading thing.
There's
Anyway.
a doormat and you didn't wipe your feet, man.
Sorry, right, I'll go take my shoes off. He pours the entire bottle in this thing. I'm sorry, but that
You've
shouldn't
killed
kill him.
your mate.
Right?
See if I did that to you for a prank.
I would never talk to you again.
You would
I would
empty
be
your...
raging.
Like, it might melt your insides.
I would probably die. If I would need to go to hospital.
Your wife would be like, Kieran, you've put him in a coma.
My kids don't have a die anymore because of you and your
There's
prank.
no as much
and then
money
you're
coming
to
in.
shit yourself.
And I'm like, gotcha! Gotcha!
And I've woke up, it's like 13 years later, I've been in a coma all this time, I've got a big beard, and you're like, I got you a belter.
And I'm like,
Where's my kids?
there's more funny bits. You missed your Wayne's weddings.
The laxative scene, this, again I said it, this wasn't funny to me. People doing shites in films rarely gets a laugh out of me.
It's because it's a prestigious actor like this, though. This is the exception for me. I find this very funny.
No, he just needs to go to the bathroom real bad. Ha ha ha. I don't know.
He does, but that's not the joke. The joke is, Harry,
The toilet's broke.
don't use that, it's broke. And then seeing an actor of that calibre try to get himself out that situation, I think that's hilarious, man.
Though that it does a good transition into Lloyd on the bike, maniacally laughing at
It's
his own plan.
It's the Wizard of Oz cut.
Yeah, and it's even got the wee Wizard of Oz Wicked Witch music. It's really good. Maybe my second favourite laugh in the movie though is when Mary's in the kitchen waiting for him to go to the toilet, and there's this special news bulletin
Current
report,
affairs.
and there's some story, I forget what the first story is, but then the second story is learning about this boy who was this blind kid who was sold a dead parakeet.
They live in Rhode Island. We're live in Rhode Island, where a boy was duped into buying a dead parakeet. We cut to Billy in 4C, who says, I just thought he was real quiet. He's still holding Petey, did you notice that?
What is his tongue?
It looks like a Victorian woman with this big Rima sellotape around its decapitated head. Lloyd shows up. She doesn't initially recognise him. He says he has her briefcase.
And then she says Lloyd, and he's so touched that she remembers his name.
He asks if she wants to jump on the bike, go with him to get it. Unless she's busy, she's up for it. She leaves Harry, who is so grateful to be left alone, I think.
They get to the hotel, and Lloyd's like, race you to the top of the stairs. He runs up the stairs and trips and then she gets in front of him, and then he grabs her ankle and trips her.
She's the sole purpose he's here, and he can't even let her win a race.
But it's not, again, like Carrera or the snowball fight, they're ultra competitive. And they don't have that chivalrous thing because they don't know how to.
She gets the briefcase, and she is so happy and grateful, giving him a kiss on the cheek. She and Nikki arrive.
Yeah, well, before that, we've got Lloyd sitting on the edge of his bed, practicing all the things he wants to say to her.
He says he's crazy about her. It makes him feel like a schoolboy.
Mm-hmm. And then she comes into the room, he tries to tell her how he feels, but he ends up blurting out,
I desperately want to make love to a schoolboy.
She freaks the fuck out.
Wait, no.
He basically says, he finally manages to get out what he's trying to say, and he says, is there any chance that a guy like me could be with a girl like you? And she basically says, no. She says,
what's the chances?
100 to 1. She's like, more like 1,000,000 to 1. And then the classic iconic line, which is quoted all the time, so you're telling me there's a chance? And he's delighted with this.
We are interrupted.
We see Nick at the door. He opens it and pulls out a gun. We're like, what the fuck? Oh no, he's going to get blown away.
Oh no, Nick, my favourite character's a bad guy. No,
I've never seen this coming.
Was he not with she before? Why am I saying this now?
Is this a reveal? Where
did he get that gun?
Who cares? This film's nearly finished, thank fuck. Lloyd calls him Mr. Samsonite. Which is really funny. That's a great callback. Nick holds a gun up to him, demands that he opens up the case. He opens up the briefcase, and it is just littered with these IOUs.
He says, what's this? He says, that's an IOU, sir. That's as good as money.
He takes it, the man. He says, you want to keep this one? It's for a car. $270,000. You're going to want to keep on to that bad boy.
How would they ever gonna pay that back? That worm farm.
I think they just think writing it down is paying it back. I don't think they realise that you need to then reimburse it. He then not ties him to the bed, he handcuffs him to the bed at gunpoint, am I right? At that point the door goes again and it's Harry. He comes through the door. Nick holds a gun up to him. Harry then has to join them on the bed, and we have this conversation / argument. Basically, they're arguing because they're arguing over Mary and how they lie to each other, blah, blah, blah. Nick tells him to shut up, and he says, what one of you I'm going to shoot first? Harry feels bad, so he goes up and says, well, shoot me first. And Lloyd's like, no, shoot me. He's like, well, what about... What's her
He
face?
mentions that he touched Mary's leg, or Mary touched his leg,
Yeah,
and Lloyd says, fine. Lloyd says, fine, kill him.
And then he does, he fucking blows Harry away, and that's it, credits. I'm only kidding, you don't care.
Imagine
that's how this film ended, pure dark. They just all get murdered.
And then what happens?
Harry jumps back up with a gun of his own somehow, and he completely misses Nick with every shot. It's like seeing Pulp Fiction, where he's trying to shoot Sam Jackson and he misses every shot.
See the way that the way he gets up and he blindly files this. He could have killed his pal.
Oh man, yeah, but it's great and it makes sense.
Lloyd says, Harry, you're alive and you're a horrible shot.
Just then the FBI burst into the room. All the cops burst in, including the attractive chick for the gas station.
She's with him?
She's in the FBI.
She knows the FBI?
The entire time.
Oh, she's in the FBI?
No, she isn't. Oh,
right, okay.
No, I think it's her case.
Right.
She's been tailing them the entire time.
The whole thing was a sting operation?
Holy shit. They gave Harry they pulled Harry in the lobby before they got there, gave him a vest and a gun and told him to go and do this.
Lloyd asks, Harry, what if they shot you in the heat?
Then they turned around to the cop and she's like, that's a risk we're willing to take. I know it's a film, but that's so ridiculous that the cops just gave this fucking idiot a bulletproof vest and a gun.
It's better than them risking it.
Oh no, true.
It's at least a wee...
He's definitely expendable.
Yeah. We get the return of Bobby. The hostage has been released.
Yeah, we're outside the hotel now. It's kind of like the end of Die Hard, where they're outside and it's snowy and there's loads of cops not around.
There's loads of bonds floating in the air. Frank Sinatra's singing.
It's weird.
Argyle! We get Mary's husband being released and they reunite. And both Harry and Lloyd agree, although they're bitter, although they didn't get the girl, it's nice to see her happy.
Well, Lloyd doesn't think that because he has this amazing Scrubs-like fantasy where he pulls out a gun and just blows Bobby away.
Bobby is so nice and he unloads this.
A full clip in him.
Do you not think that's a great final gag?
It's a great final gag, and we've all been there. We've all been that jealous guy that's fantasised.
You want to be the better man, but you're still petulant.
Inside, you're like, oh, you fucking prick, that's my
He
blood.
shakes his hand and he's like, "Hi, Bobby." They bid farewell.
Yeah, and then we basically just cut to them hitchhiking home.
Can I say, I just think this is one of the best endings ever.
They're hitchhiking home. This big, massive bus pulls by full of these, is it bikini models for this bikini tournament? Full of babes. Like, they've just come right off the set of Baywatch. And they're like, oh man, we're looking for 2 guys to rub oil on us for our competitions.
We're looking for a couple of oil boys to join us on the rest of our tour.
We're going to drive around the country. You can rub oil on us.
All day long, basically.
Yeah, and
Lloyd replies, "You're in luck. There's a tune about 2 miles that way."
yeah, and they look disappointed, and they're like, right, okay. And then they drive away a little bit, and then Lloyd's like, "You are an idiot."
Do you realise what you've done?
He chases the bus down on foot for ages. The bus stops for him. He's out of breath. He says, "You have to excuse my friend here. He's a bit of a dumbass," or something like that.
He's a little slow.
Yeah, he's a little slow. It's actually 2 miles that way, and he points in another direction. And he's like, happy to help or something. And then they drive.
They turn the bus round and they drive in the other direction, and both
I do
men...
love the fact that they even asked for a lift. Even if they didn't want to go be the oil boys, they could have been like, "Can you give me a lift to that town?"
They're just so oblivious, and Harry says, like, "Wow, can you believe it?" And he says, "Yeah, a couple of guys back that way are going to be the luckiest guys in the world." Both men say, "We'll just find our luck elsewhere," walk into the horizon and start playing tag.
I mean, it's fine.
Fair play.
Again, it's the consistency of them not being stupid sometimes. Because there's other scenes in the movie where they would totally have picked up on that. It's just, it's never established.
It's a comedy.
I know, but it's never established how stupid
called
they
Dumb
are.
and Dumber.
Exactly. See if it's Dumb and Dumber and they're stupid the entire way through the movie, then I'm on board. But there's weird times in this movie where they're weirdly brilliant and smart and they're not acting dumb.
I get that complaint for Forrest Gump when I brought it up, but this is called... No, I don't get that for Dumb and Dumber myself, but I don't know.
I mean, it's a funny gag, it's fine. You're calling it one of the best endings ever, I'm not sure about that.
This time it wasn't luck, it was chance, and they still managed to sabotage it, but both men walk away happy with their friendship. That's one of the best endings ever. Dumb and Dumber, 1994. What do you think?
Okay, so I hadn't seen this movie in several years. Like, seen it a bunch when I was a kid. It was quoted like fuck all through school. So like Killer Boots Man and all that shit. Like kick his ass, Seabass. All those lines were just said constantly. So I kind of resented this movie a wee bit through school because it was just annoying. People were saying it a lot. But in sort of recent years, I've thought back on it. And I've wanted to watch it again, but my wife hates it, so she doesn't want to watch it with me. So when the opportunity presented itself to watch it for this podcast, I was excited. It's 1 year anniversary, it's big. You've many times to me, not just on this podcast, but just in life, talked about how much you love this movie and how it's one of your favourites of all time. So I was excited, man. And I sat down last night and I watched it. And I liked it a lot. There are some bits that made me laugh hysterically. The bird sellotaped to its head to the blind kid is one of the greatest jokes in cinema history. I don't give a fuck who you're talking about in any movie ever. It is genius. And there's some other really great stuff in that. I don't love it as much as you. I don't think anybody does. But Jim Carrey's electric in it. His star shines so brightly. Jeff Daniels is good too. But he he's so selfless, Jeff Daniels, in this movie. He's sort of like, he's being straighter.
He's been his podium almost.
Yeah, he's letting Jim Carrey shine. He's like, I'll do this for you and you do your thing. He knows he's a star and he knows his place. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful, like he knows his place. But he knows he's there to be the structure of this movie and Jim Carrey's there to be the star.
I would have signed up to be his opposite as well, just to witness that.
Yeah, man, just to deal with that in
Totally,
person.
yeah.
Must have been amazing. I really like this movie a lot. I would recommend it to a lot of people. I understand people's gripes with it. I've got some as well. The inconsistency of how sometimes they're stupid, but sometimes they're really smart. The weird rape scene with Seabass is a bit out of nowhere. The stuff that was cut, even though I didn't see it, I'm glad it was cut. It didn't sound very good. I like the road trip. I love the start of this movie, and I love all the road trip. I think it kind of falls apart when they get to Aspen. Personally, I thought that bit dragged a little bit. I liked them on the road, getting into all sorts of shenanigans. I wish that was longer, at least. Mm-hmm. And the sequel, I wish the sequel was another road trip movie instead of what that was, which was nothing. But anyway, back to this movie. All that being said, it's Dumb and Dumber. It's a classic. You can't say not, and it's a total Egypt feature. And even though I have been critical of it, and I've not been as positive as you, I'm still going to give it a 4. 4 out of 5 coconuts.
4 out of 5? Okay, man. Dumb and Dumber 1994. This is a film which means a great deal to me. The older I've got, I've never really lost it on Dumb and Dumber. At the heart of this Coen Brothers-esque plot, you have these two idiots who inadvertently foil a devious plan whilst creating havoc along the way. I still laugh out loud watching this, and it can turn my mood with just a line of dialogue. It is silly, it is immature, but its heart is in the right place and it's in its characters. Harry and Lloyd have each other, and that's about it. I think the ending is truly remarkable. Allegedly, Kerry was going to walk when the studio planned on changing it and they would board the bus, and I completely understand why he would leave. There was a time I would tell you he was the world's greatest entertainer, and when I watch these movies, I am still reminded of that, and I still believe it when I see it. This movie means a bunch to me, and it would be a Desert Island VHS for me. 4.5 out of 5 coconuts. Next week, Egypt Features is where you want to be.
Yeah, so we'll see you then. It's been a good year. Here's to another year. Viva forever.
See ya, baby. Roll the trailer.
When the world is in trouble, when our future is in danger, we call upon one man. But when he's busy, he calls 5 girls. Columbia Pictures presents The Spice Girls.
All right, we're coming.
In their film debut, Victoria, Emma, Mel B, Jerry, and Mel C. They're ready for action. Girl power. They're dressed to kill.
Do you want that shaken or stirred?
And thoroughly prepared for any encounter. It's a story of love.
I think with boys, you should be able to just wheel them in.
Yeah, and order them like a pizza.
Yeah, no cheese.
Compassion.
It's really too hot in here. I need a fan.
And misunderstanding.
When the speeding melon hits the wall, there's Christmas for the crows.
What did he say?
I haven't a clue.
There's more like it. This January.
Would you like an hors d'oeuvre?
No. But I'll have one of these pie things.
Make your choice.
I like the blonde one. No. Sporty.
Rock your world. And spice up your life with the Spice Girls. Spice World.
Yeah, but can they act?
Blah, blah, blah. Girl power, feminism. Do you know what I mean?